Am I going to get to see IoT as a service?
That's right. So we are moving.
So I'm not going to buy hardware, software, and services anymore. I'm
Exactly.
just going to buy it as a service,
Exactly.
monthly basis.
Exactly. So we are moving everything into as a service model.
Hello, my name is Robert Schmid. I'm Deloitte's Chief IoT Technologist, also known as Mr. IoT. Today on my show, Coffee with Mr. IoT, my guest is Mayank Agarwal from Hewlett-Packard Enterprise. Welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Doing good, Robert. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
Okay.
We at the LifeWorks show.
Yep.
You are on the show floor, we on the show floor. What do you think so far about the show? You been here before?
No, this is the first time actually, but it's fantastic, right? I mean, it's fantastic to see so many people doing things around IoT. I mean, I just love the ring of the sound of IoT all over the place. It's great to meet a lot of customers, partners, really, showcase what at HPE we're bringing together. So I think it's a fantastic experience and lots to learn from our partners and customers as well.
Lots to learn. I find that true anytime I go somewhere.
Yeah.
Give me one learning you had here about IoT that you hadn't thought of before.
Well, I think, we as an organization are very strong from a product perspective, right? We've got a great converged system offering at the edge for our customers.
We actually have a solution together, don't we?
Yeah.
Called Turnkey IoT, where HPE is actually the edge hardware component.
Absolutely, right? And what we're trying to build now is really the services around how do we bring the different pieces of IoT together, right? And so it could be just the hardware, it could be the software component, it could be the platform. I think one of the key learnings after talking to a lot of customers is which reiterates our belief that customers are really looking for a solution rather than just looking at a product, right? And while I think organizations are moving towards solution focus, I think there's still a big gap, and that's where we hope as HPE to fulfill that gap, right?
So was that something that was new to you, or you just got reaffirmed?
It just got reaffirmed. It got reaffirmed even more.
So what was something new you learned? What was something sort of like you came in and going like, oh wow, I hadn't really been into that or thought of that or something like that?
Well, I've been working in this space for almost 2.5 years. So I think I've pretty much, heard about most of the stuff, but I think to touch and feel some of the stuff in some of the organizations that are doing is great, right? So some of the stuff has been new. I just gone to a booth downstairs, and there was, what PTC is doing with their Vuforia offering with the racing car is fabulous, right? I mean, I didn't know they had actually gone down to that level. So,
did you race the car? Did you sit in?
No, I actually didn't, but I saw people really getting excited around it, wearing those virtual reality glasses. So it was fabulous, yeah.
I tried it out yesterday. Our booth is right next to it.
Yeah.
We actually had some conversations about the sound system because it was blasting.
I'm definitely going to try it for sure.
Yeah, so try it out. It's fun. It's interesting. It's a cool track too. So really it was about some of the augmented reality things you've seen and what you can do with that.
Yes.
Very interesting, very interesting. So you say services, we do services. Help me sort of, are we competing? Are we in similar space? Where do we complement each other? And where do we overlap, if at all?
Yeah, so, we're very specific around the services that we want to offer around IoT. Like I said, we've got a great, we are an infrastructure company, right? We know how to deal with compute, we know how to deal with networking, we know how to deal with different aspects that get into the infrastructure piece. What we are bringing together as services is building a partner ecosystem to complement with our infrastructure. So now we're just not only focusing on our infrastructure piece, but we're saying, hey, you know what, we can also bring in partners like PTC, which can become an IoT platform. We can also bring in partners like Allied Mechanics, for example, right, who great with their data sciences. I think Deloitte has a great offering around the downstream processes that actually impact a factory modernization. For example, a supply chain process re-engineering that needs to go on after the factory modernization project has taken place. So I think Deloitte is great with that. HP will never get into that space, right? So we at HP are very focused on the technology piece in the IoT space, while I think Deloitte is very strong on the process piece, right? And I think that's where we complement each other.
Interesting. Very cool. You've been at HP for a long time. You've actually been at HP before it was HPE. It was just HP then, right?
That's right.
How have things changed for you? I'm just curious. You've been there almost 13 years now. You've been a long time there. Just tell me a little bit about HP, HPE. I actually, HP was a client of mine when I first started with Deloitte many moons ago.
Yeah, as you know, so I've seen really HP evolve from a 300,000 employee base to we are now about 65,000 employees. But the good thing that's happened is I think we've become
you feel
a
that change?
Yes, you do. Because now you feel we become a much more nimble company, right? We were a large, gigantic organization. I think now we're very focused on the enterprise technology. We are very focused on building services around our enterprise customers. So it's been an evolution, obviously, but I think it's been a good evolution for the organization itself. I think, like I said, now there's a lot more focus on the newer age technology. I think our leadership is extremely focused on the edge. We're doing a $4 billion investment at the edge. Antonio announced that a couple of years back, so that investments are going in. And you can see that happening in our product and in our service lifecycle as well. So as a company, I think we're more evolving towards the next gen.
Let's talk about the edge a little bit. What is the edge? What is the edge to you? And what role do you see yourself and HP play in that area?
Well, anything at the edge is anything which is generating data for me, right?
Okay.
And the ability to be able to harness that data, to be able to compute that data at the edge is what we do. I think that's where we pioneer. We've got great technology and products that can help customers do that at the edge. We've got ruggedized products which can be placed on the factory floor, right? And that's the important piece. I think what, as a company, for us, edge is important because we know that's where all the action happens. And the decisions to make, informed action based is, what's really coming out at the edge is something that as an organization we enable our customers to do, right? So we want to be very focused around how we position this with our customers, how we give solutions to our customers in that space.
I have a fantasy and I want to check that out with you. We've had, I don't know, it's not 10 years or so, we have a strong move to the cloud. On-prem, HP back then was very strong in their data centers and giving people data centers, helping them with their data centers, running their data centers. And then there was this big push to the cloud. And I know HP tried to, or had actually their own cloud. And I think over time that's changed a little bit. You've been more of a supporter of the cloud in that sense. But really the edge is sort of, in my fantasy, a big new area for HPE in this case, and I don't know how much for HPC, but more for HPE, truly be leading again, because it's hardware again. It's hardware right there sitting on the edge. Is that true? And if it's true, how me as a customer and as a client do I decide what to put in my data center, what to put in the cloud, what to put right here? How do I go about that? So first, is that true? Is the edge really sort of a new era for you?
It is.
Really shine?
It's surely the new era, from a point. And we understand, look, most of the data that's getting generated at the edge, right, has to be computed at the edge because you want to take these quick actions. You cannot wait to send the data right up into the cloud and wait for the actions to happen. I mean, think about, all the action that's happening within autonomous car, right? Now, for the actions to happen, all of that data needs to get processed at the edge. You cannot really send it up to the cloud. But the reality is that in a manufacturing environment, the amount of data that's getting generated at the edge is humongous. So you have to have hybrid strategy. So you probably want to say, hey, you know what, all the heavy lifting happens at the edge in terms of data processing, but your skinny layer of data, which is more important from a machine learning, from artificial intelligence, and you want to do some historical pattern recognition. Those are the things which you really want to send to the cloud. And specifically if you have multi-geography locations across the globe, so you obviously want to centralize that data, get those learnings out in the cloud, and then push it back into your data centers locally. So cloud is a reality, and we absolutely understand that piece. There's no getting away from it. But what should an organization strategy be around how much of data that's going to get processed at the edge, while how much really needs to go into the cloud, is something that we help our customers with. So really putting the strategy behind on their hybrid strategy.
Got it. Interesting. Tell us a little bit about your journey at HP in terms of like what was your career like. I always like to hear about personal sort of stories, particularly when someone has been so long. You sort of there's a heart of the part of your heart that's actually at you with your company. At some point.
I've done various roles. So I joined HP in 2006 as a project manager. So I was an individual contributor that I joined as. And I was really into project management, transitions. There was a lot of.
Did you join them in the US or in India?
In India.
Okay.
Right, in Bangalore. And so I did that for about a couple of years. Then I got a chance to move into finance. So I did a couple of years of finance. So, really business planning and finance. Then another maybe about 3 years did that, and then really got into operations. So really running really large operational teams. And of course these were...
What's really large for you?
About 500 people.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, teams, right. And these were really technology oriented teams, and that's where I really got attracted towards different. And during the way, I also developed products for the company. So, we developed some big data products. We developed some CRM products, which really helped the business. And obviously, as we evolved and as a company evolved and we started focusing more towards industrial IoT and blockchain and things like that, that's where I got my interest, and I started building delivery teams around the IoT space. And now I'm here really leading the worldwide services portfolio for IoT.
I'm curious, so I've had global roles, and right now I'm in a more of a US role. Mm-hmm. How different, and so I don't get to see as much globally anymore as I did in the past, how different is IoT across the various regions and countries, if you wish?
Yeah, I can give you a classic example. Because I'm based out of India, I can tell you, India is very focused on the smart city space, mm-hmm. right? We've got very, very large product, and obviously this is being driven through government, right? We've got a push in the industrial IoT space as well there, right? In Europe, especially if you go to Germany, there's a very large push on the industrial side of things, right? While as if you moved Southeast Asia, there is a lot of demand from a smart building and smart campus standpoint, right? So we've got a very large deal that's going on around just the smart campus in Australia. I think in the US, it's a mix of all. I see a demand for industrial IoT. I see there's a lot of uptake for commercial, so that's enterprise IoT. So it could be in the smart building spaces, or it could be in the venues and things like that. So it's different in different regions, really depending on what the requirement is. But I think pretty much I see industrial IoT really picking up in all of the geographies. I think smart spaces, specifically in APAC and APJ region, and in the US.
I find it interesting when I do travel. So I see the same thing, right? Smart factory, smart manufacturing is really, it's here now. People do it, and they derive significant value out of this. That really makes them continue on and so forth. I know we've been involved in a few India smart city, smart government projects, and they've gone very far. We do smart buildings here, but I'm kind of wondering, what do you think? I feel that when it comes to smart city itself, we talk a lot more about it in the US than other countries do a lot more. And I'm not trying to be political here. I'm really trying to just curious about what are you seeing around this? Is this what you see also? What are some of the really interesting smart city implementations you have seen, like truly where the citizens feel it?
Yeah, I can. I can't. I haven't seen anything happening in the U.S. around it, but in India, I can tell you we've implemented this in Bhopal. So there's a city in India called Bhopal. We've implemented smart waste management, smart lighting, smart transportation. These are real use cases where people can touch and feel it, right? And on similar lines, you have the other cities that are getting launched. I think in the US, it's more point use cases rather than building an entire ecosystem. We've seen a launch of this happening in the Middle East as well. So there's a lot of focus in the Middle East on the smart city projects, and they're coming up. But elsewhere, I see there are very point solutions. So there might be a smart waste management that somebody might do, but really not an entire ecosystem around it. People might talk about smart transportation or smart asset management, but it's really not bringing all of these use cases together to bring up a complete, smart city kind of an environment. So it is different. Like I said, I think there's a lot of role the government plays around this space, because smart cities obviously will have to go through those approvals to the government. But so it really is a push tops down from a country level, rather than it's a bottom approach.
So if I go to Bhopal, will I feel the difference?
Yes, you will. Yes, you will.
It's fascinating. I got to go there and check it out. I'm really
curious.
There's
like I said, we've, as HPE, this was the first smart city project that we had acquired. And now we've got multiple cities that we are working with. So you will be able to see this in action.
How will I experience it if I go there?
For example, right, smart transportation. So you've got app that can actually tell you what are the different, public transportation systems. You can actually track it like on a Google map, right?
Oh, interesting.
So you can actually see which transportation system that you want to take, and the location services and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting on what we're doing there.
That's very cool. Very interesting. What have I not asked you? One of the things I often find interesting is I go on my little sort of like questions and I follow along the path.
Yep.
What have we not talked about that you feel like is really important that we spend some time on?
I think one thing I'd probably want to speak a little more about the HPE services and the way we want to build this, right? Like I said, I think we are very good as an organization, and because that's traditionally how we've done business, is selling our compute and our hardware and the storage and the networking gear. I think we are now changing the focus from just product oriented sales to a more services oriented sales plan, where we're really selling solutions to the customer. And we are packaging these solutions in a way where customers can touch and feel the solutions rather than get into a full-blown implementation. So we're launching this new service called Fast Start Condition Monitoring. And this is the first of the Fast Start series, so we're branding it under the Fast Start.
Fast Start.
That's right. So it's a Fast Start series, and under which you have a condition monitoring specifically aimed for our manufacturing customers, where the customers can really see the full value of the hardware stack, the software, the IoT platform built into one package, completely programmed and project managed by HPE Point Next services, and the overall implementation. So the customer now really sees a solution being implemented in a quick period of time with a very low investment, rather than having to deal with different technology stacks that he's trying to experiment and trying to figure out. So,
am I going to get to see IoT as a service?
That's right. So we are moving.
So I'm not going to buy hardware, software, and services anymore. I'm just going to buy it as a service monthly basis?
Exactly. So we are moving everything into as a service model, right? So we are trying to tell the customer, hey, look, you don't have to make a CapEx investment, right? We will convert all of this into OpEx for you, and you can pay this as a service on a monthly basis, rather than having to make an upfront investment of millions of dollars.
And how fast does fast start?
So from the time a customer places a purchase order, and we've got the hardware in the customer's location, it's 2 weeks of implementation. So we will show.
That is fast.
Yeah. So we will have the entire proof of value implemented in the customer's environment within 2 weeks.
Oh, we talk the same language. We use proof of value too.
Absolutely.
I like it.
Absolutely.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for being here. Thanks
Pleasure.
for being on the
Thank
show.
you. It was a
And
pleasure.
with that, our coffee chat today is coming to an end. Thank you for watching. If you want to see any of our previous shows, please check out the playlist, and please don't forget to subscribe somewhere up here. With that, have a good one.